My name is Lara Kudaisi. I help people heal from emotional pain, trauma, childhood dysfunctions for a happily ever after. My story in a nutshell is that I healed from having a child at 19, 14 heartbreaks, 15 abortions, and a divorce. I have created a program titled How They Heal. Hi, welcome to How They Healed. And you know, on this show, we bring people who've been through trauma, who've been through pain, childhood dysfunction, or anything of that sort. They come on the show to tell us their journey of healing, of how they are healing, or how they totally healed. And you know, as usual, I'm your host, and my name is Lara Kudaisi. We'll be right back. Welcome back from that break. Today we're talking about something very soul-stirring, something that plagues the society, you know, and literally, and it's cancer. It's something that, you know, we avoid talking about. We don't like mentioning it in homes because we're afraid, Lord, let nobody catch it. But what if you catch it? What happens? My guest is somebody who've gone through it, who have had it, who is alive and here today to tell the story. Guys, please welcome with me, Uche Sensei Agbai. Welcome, Uche. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
You know, I always love your swag. I must say that.
Swag.
The hair, you know, the chain and all of that.
Oh, thank you. Had this for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so for people who don't know you,
Okay.
who is Uche?
Uche Agbai is a media personality. In media, you call me Sensei Uche, which is just my name, you know, in two different forms. I love music. I love to dance. Radio, TV, creative person. I am right now deliberately living life to the full. You know, so that's what I'm doing right now. So yeah, that's Uche.
So talking about deliberately living life to the full,
Yeah.
at what point did that start?
It started, the deliberate part.
Yes.
Started after I beat cancer. And it just made me realize, after coming through that experience, or coming out of that experience, that, okay, I have to be more precise with how I go about living.
Okay, so let's not end, because like we're going to the conclusion already.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So cancer.
As in, the way you say cancer, is like, yeah, what do you, like, okay, so that's how it was for me back then, and that's how it is. What happened? It just happened. I didn't expect it to happen. Should I give you a brief?
Oh, please.
Okay, so yes, on radio, as a radio personality, we wear headphones a lot.
Okay.
And sometimes we have what you call ear infections, you know, because of wearing, I also listen to loud music. I love listening to loud music and playing music. So in 2016, late 2016, I started having what you call ear infections and all that rubbish. And of course, I went to my pharmacist. They were like, give me some drugs and all. So I thought it was just a normal, you know, period of ear infections. I'll take my drugs, but it persisted. 2016, I was late 2016, like November, December. I was on drugs up to January, and it was getting worse. Sometimes I'm sitting down with you, I'm talking, and I can hear you, and then my volume just drops. The volume drops, and I can't hear you.
The volume of what you're hearing.
Yeah, and I can't hear. And it kept on going that way for about 3 months, and because I was going to the same pharmacist, she said, you know what, you have to do something about it. Check, go to a specialist, or do some tests and all of that. I didn't want to go to a specialist because I didn't think it was anything serious. So I went ahead and did some tests. There's some sound tests you do, some eye tests you do, and all that. I did all that. And they were like, okay, infections, ear infection. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. I went back to her, this was and she said, go see a specialist. So I went to see an ENT, and he also was like, go do these tests. I'm like, dude, I've done a series of tests, and why am I still doing it? Just do the test. I did the test. Didn't go back to him with the results didn't go back for the results until 2 weeks passed, because I was still working, you know, just doing my thing. And then when I did that, I brought the test back to him. He looked at me And he said, I want you to do one more test. And I did that test, and I came back to him. And my doctor has never told me in my life to sit down. Like, you know how doctors just look at you and say, sit down. You know, I'm like, so what is the wahala? Why am I sitting down? And he's like, you have to prepare yourself for what I'm about to say. I found a tumor in your nasal region. And I'm like, okay, how? And he says, I shouldn't panic. That it could be anything. It could just be a benign tumor. That means a tumor that's not cancerous. But we had to do a biopsy. We did that biopsy. After that, you know, came back to him and he was like, yo, so the tumor is cancerous. And life literally just paused. You see this thing you see in movies where everything just pauses and you're like, okay, you're trying to trace back to how that happened or what you did. That happened. In that moment, I was like, okay, so what did I do wrong? There's no history of cancer in my family, nobody I know, no relative, nothing. And he said, don't worry, you know, you can beat it. You caught it early, but you have to, you know, do some specific things, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, and all of that. But you see, as he was saying that, I wasn't there. I was lost. I was like, God, why me? I try to live as healthy as I can. I try to take care of my body as much as I can, so I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, so it was cancer. He advised me to treat outside the country. I didn't have the funds for that. I said, okay, I'll just stay inside the country and I'll do what I need to do. Did chemotherapy here, about 3 sessions of that. If you know chemotherapy, you know it's not just as easy as I'm saying it. But I did it and nothing was happening. I was getting worse, like really worse. The tumor was growing, my ear, hearing here, gone. I couldn't breathe through my nose. Taste, I was losing taste and my mouth was
You were swollen, your mouth was swollen.
Yeah, it was swollen. If you check out the video I put up on Instagram back then, I was talking, pretty much talking like this. Hey guys, you know. I can smile about it now, you know.
Thankfully.
Yes, thankfully, but it was really a scary period. So I did as much as I could back here, and nothing was happening. I wasn't getting better. A couple of times, in the dead of night, I was rushed to the hospital because I almost passed into the other world. Yeah, I almost. And to be honest, I at one point told myself that there's no point continuing. Because I was looking at the bills, you know. I was looking at my savings dry up, you know. And I was like, so what the hell? Like, I remember talking to a couple of people in media, PR people also, because you are in media. When they see you on TV, when you're on radio, the world kind of feels like you have everything sorted, you know. You know, the money and all that, but no, it's not like that. So yeah, my friends were like, no, we're not gonna give up on you. Shout out to Oscar. Shout out to Banky W actually.
Hi, Banky.
Yeah, Banky also was one of the people that said, dude, don't give up. We can put this out there. Oscar also pushed and made that campaign work. We can put this out there and you can get people to help you. I was like, yay, my career is over. Yeah, because I was actually advised not to.
Do that.
Yeah. Because
Why though?
you know how entertainment is. You know how Nigeria is. You can't be seen to be on a certain level and then ask for help from everybody. You know, just, oh, so this guy, they pretend. But I don't pretend. I don't even live my life to pretend. I don't have time for that.
Wow, so it's seen as something else
Yeah,
when
you
you
do beg
come
now.
outside to beg for money.
For money,
to
you
ask
don't have
for
the money, yeah.
To treat something of that magnitude that we all know is very, very expensive.
A lot of people don't know.
Where did we
actually.
get that from?
A lot of people don't know how expensive it is.
So how expensive is it?
Millions of naira expensive. I'm talking 20, 40, 50 million.
Wow.
Unfortunately. And this is because you're going to need to go outside the country again, unfortunately, to get good treatment. I'm not saying we don't have doctors here, but we just don't have the technology. We don't have the expertise. There will be doctors out there that will disagree with me and say, but we do not. Till date, I don't think we have a functioning radiotherapy machine in Lagos. We have There's one in a hospital, I don't want to mention the name,
Okay.
on Mobilaji Bank.
Okay.
But you see, that one is overstressed. The one in Luth, I went there. I woke up as early as possible, went to the radiotherapy department. It's just a mess. Got there, people were waiting as early as 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning. You have to queue outside. The gate is locked to the department. Somebody comes strolling at 7 a.m., open it, and okay, we all rush in.
Rushing,
Right?
people that are already not feeling fine.
Rushed in, and I asked the sitting nurse, like, okay, so what's happening? Is the radiotherapy machine working? This was back then, and she was like, no. I was like, why? Are there parts coming? Like, we don't know when it's going to be fixed. And my doctor already told me this, that in Lagos, this is where you get it, but you see, the treatment will not be as precise as you need it to be. There might be some side effects that will ruin you, because it was in my nasal region, affecting my eyes, growing underneath my brain, my mouth, my nose, and all that. So I explored those options, and I couldn't get those options. I put it out there, and to my greatest surprise, people responded.
Yeah.
Till this day, and that's still, I'm not over it, because it just feels like, more, you've used your joker in life.
No.
No, yeah, because I remember going through that. Let me just say this. I remember going through that and coming back to Lagos and being at an event, and somebody spoke to me, and somebody was like, yo, seeing yourself, I don't believe say that. I mean, true words. This thing that you said happened, I actually didn't believe that you were sick. I thought you were just flinging with our money in Instabul. And I was like, oh, okay. Because there was nothing I could say. What am I going to say? Start arguing with you?
Like somebody did say
that?
that?
Yeah, somebody did say that to me.
So that you would come and put your life out there, your career, everything to
just because I
ask
want
for
to
money, just because you want to go on a
defraud
vacation.
people of their money, and
Nigerians now, how far?
That's the thing. That's why I said that a lot of people don't understand, and I don't blame them for it, because they have seen people do this in our society. As in, maybe they have. I haven't. Yeah, so that's aside.
So at what point did you leave the country?
I think I left in late July, / August. But it was already really, really late. Because once a cancerous tumor is touched for biopsy, according to my doctor, it starts growing rapidly. So that was what happened. So my doctor was like, you have to be ready with your money for treatments before we do the biopsy, because the minute I do the biopsy to know if it's cancerous or benign, if it is cancerous, the minute you touch a cancerous tumor, it starts growing wild.
Oh my God.
So that was what happened.
Wow, Uche. Wow. I have a lot of questions to ask you. Like, oh my God. Guys, did you hear that? Wow. Please stay tuned, because we need to take a break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back from that break. Before we went on break, we're talking to Uche, Sensei Agbai. We're talking about cancer. He was telling us how he had to, go to Instabul or outside the country to go treat his cancer, because it wasn't getting better here in Nigeria. So Uche.
Yeah.
When did you decide to go out of the country, and how easy was that for you?
Decided, not just by myself, by a team of friends. When we saw that I wasn't getting well after having about 3 sessions of radiotherapy back here. And again, I am not going to fault the health professionals back here. There's something that I think comes with experience and handling certain cases over and over and over, and having technology, so you'll be able to identify things easily. So I was receiving treatments that wasn't effective because it really, there wasn't really targeted diagnosis. Don't kill me, we're all professionals. So yeah, I went outside the country, Instabul. It wasn't easy, but because I had people that had influence, so to speak. So they were able to speak to, and it was an emergency. we had to. I had to leave. The week I left, I had to have left that week. When I got to Istanbul, the doctor told me if I hadn't come in like 1-2 weeks,
You'd have
yeah, I would have died.
lost the battle.
I would have died. And they also didn't tell me something until the end of the treatment. And Oscar knew about it, but he didn't tell me about it. They initially didn't want to treat because at some point they looked at me and were like, it's metastasized. That means it has spread. So from the origin point, which was my nasal area, there was signs of it around, I think, my bones, around the liver, and then underneath my brain. So the doctor was like, okay. So we reached a level where it's just a 50-50 thing. And they didn't, but again, he said he looked at me and he looked at my enthusiasm and my energy and the way I was in the hospital.
I was going to ask you, where did that enthusiasm come from? Because I watched your videos back then, you know, and that was what, it was a hard, you know, you could see somebody who was sick, but who was fighting, who was asking for help.
I had to fight, first off. I had to fight because I knew that wasn't where my life was supposed to end. How did I know?
That's powerful.
It might sound very, I don't know, very extraterrestrial to some people, but once you have a vision, once you visualized your life, once you have a spiritual connection and you know where you're going. I hadn't seen myself end at that point, you know, so I'd seen myself go on to a certain level. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can't die now, you know, so why am I even supposed to die? All this thing where you tell me, how far? And then something came to me like a revelation. You see, the truth is, we all go through tough times in our lives. Some things, some of the tough times are things that we are used to, society is used to, people around us are used to, and then some of them, they're not used to. It's new. For instance, probably you must have fallen ill with malaria, right? Did you think you'd die?
No.
Yeah, because you know everything about malaria. And you also don't, you also know that malaria would not, you know, cut your life. Cancer, I had cancer, nobody in mind. And then I told myself that, but I can't die here. This can't kill me. God, I must progress after this, which was a struggle. I can't say that all here, but it was a struggle. But yeah.
When we're talking about struggle, are we talking about mental struggle, physical
Every type of struggle,
You know,
Lara.
and who went with you to Instabul? Was it you alone?
Okay, so initially Oscar went with me. He stayed with me for about 2 weeks. I had my friend Neka. Also, she came from London to meet me in Istanbul. So she stayed with me for another 2 weeks and went back and then came back for another week plus. So I stayed cumulatively for about 3 months plus initially and then went back for, I think, a month plus. So for about 2 months plus, I was by myself. And that one, being by myself in a country where the English is not, you know, their first language. Now that was a struggle because I had, like, there were nights where I would just be inside the room and I'm crying. After coming back from radiotherapy treatments, and there were times where I couldn't take radiotherapy because my immune system was so low that doctor told me if I take it, the drugs would probably harm me or kill me, you know. So, and there were even times when, God bless their souls, the doctors at Medicana, there was a time when I couldn't afford a certain drug. They gave me for free. I, like, who does that outside the country, you know? But that was how much we were able to connect. Talking about this is not easy.
I know. And even hearing you talk about it I could feel the emotions. I imagine you that it has happened to, you know, go through all of this. Then I was going to ask about your family, you know, your parents, your siblings. How did they take it? How were their reaction? How was their reaction to all of this?
My parents are late. God bless their soul. I didn't tell my siblings. We buried my mom in 2017.
Okay.
Back, I'd known that there was a tumor growing, but I didn't let my siblings know until after the burial.
Burial, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because my junior sister would just go mad, you know. And when I told them, it was something that they also, my sister cried. Joy cried so much. You know, she was like, you, how, why you?
Because you look so happy, so healthy. I used to see you play football, sing the bass, you know, be a DJ, the presenter. It was so difficult to see you now look lifeless and calm, and I couldn't relate when I saw it back then.
How do you think I felt? Like seeing myself like that every day, every night, waking up. But like I said, I didn't see my life ending at that point. So I had to do all I can to aid my spirit in getting better or in healing. And this was me in Istanbul, sick, went online. How can you help your cancer treatment? Exercise routine. I started exercising. I was exercising sick, and I was taking, treatment. And it was helping me. It was, because it placed my mind in a certain place. Yes. Okay, I wake up in the morning, I exercise for about 1-2 hours, go to the shower, to have my shower, and I go to the hospital. I come back. So exercise, and then I take a long walk, and I come, believe me, anything to keep myself sane. Because once you're inside is solitary confinement, space, and you're going through that, and there's nothing to do, your mind, the kind of evil where your mind would go through, sometimes you're like, end it. Don't stop. And then some other times you're like so happy and I'm dancing. And some other times I'm crying. Oh, bro.
It's just a roller coaster
of emotions, man. That even when I came back, sleeping was even hard. Because when you sleep, your mind just, goes all over the place. And sometimes I wake up thinking I'm in Istanbul. I'm in the hospital. And you wake up like you're drowning. Like
So because that's your mental health, going through.
Yeah. That thing you just said, mental health. We don't talk about that,
Yeah, that's why we
Nigeria.
have this show.
Yeah, fantastic.
So how did you take care of that?
Again, mental health. Telling myself that I wasn't going to die, and just taking it one day at a time. One day at a time. One day at a time. Trying to stay positive. I always try to have a positive outlook, no matter how bad things are. I try. I haven't mastered it. I don't know if anybody has. If you have, please let me know.
Let us all know. We need to know.
Yeah, so a positive outlook to life. There's something I use positive mental attitude. So that's one of the ways I survived. And of course, with loving people around me, sending messages, calling, making sure that my spirits were up at all times.
That's so beautiful to hear. Uche, so how did you, because you said you beat cancer.
Yeah, I did.
So at what point did you know?
Oh, it was at the end of treatment.
In Instabul, or back in Nigeria?
In Istanbul.
Okay.
When we finished radiotherapy, the last session of radiotherapy, so the doctor was like, okay, you're going to come in later for a final scan, a PET CT scan. We don't have a PET CT scan machine in Nigeria. Guys, how far now? Like seriously, we have about 30 in one state in Istanbul. Think about that.
Wow.
We don't have a PET CT. I hear we have, but it's in some foreign kidney run, hospital here, but let's leave that. What's the question again?
When did you know that?
When did I know? Okay, so we finished it and the doctor said, coming a week after and we'll do a test and find out. And they did that scan. And Dr. Mutlu was like, Uche, it's okay.
How did that feel though?
I have a video. I have a video on my phone somewhere, and I was like, Uche is okay. Uche is okay. And all the nurses were just like, Uche is okay. And I'm like, say it, Uche is okay, Uche is okay. I'm like, and they were all just saying, and we were all just laughing. And I remember walking out of the hospital into the streets, and it was evening. Guy, I walked right in front of a traffic stop. Of course, the red light was on. I was like, Uche is okay. I was like taking pictures. People were, I'm sure they were looking at me like, who is this really stupid? But I was just like, hey. It was a relief. It was a relief to hear that it was gone. But of course, doctors can't promise you anything. They'll tell you that there's a chance that there might be a relapse. But no, There's no relapse.
This is how
Not
long
with this
after
guy.
that now? God, this is how long after now?
This is, okay, so that was 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. So about 2 years plus.
after.
Yeah.
Uche is okay.
Uche is okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Uche.
Oh my God. Like post-cancer, Uche, finally.
Yeah, post-cancer. You said something about trauma. You know, I didn't realize how much I was traumatized by it until after I came back. And like I said earlier, sleeping and waking up and feeling like driving in Lagos and my mind just wanders off, you know, in traffic. Like this happened, that happened. And then you're back, you're trying to reintegrate yourself, not just into society, but into the space where, you know, you used to work and everybody's looking at you, you know, differently. Like you're fragile, you're going to break. I'm like, you guys, I know you guys care about me, but I'm fine.
Tell them that?
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm like, I'm fine, I'm okay. But I also don't blame them because they also don't know how to go about it.
Yes,
Nobody will know how to go ask the
say.
question.
Yeah, like,
Okay, how do you feel?
do you do so? Is it that there's some things you can't do now anymore?
Oh, there's a lot I can't. But you see, the truth is, nobody tells you how expensive all these things are. Come on, like seriously. There's a lot you're supposed to be eating. Brown rice, brown spaghetti, brown sugar, wheat bread, vegetables
so healthy
only.
food,
Like,
generally.
yes,
You have to
healthy
go green and
food.
healthy.
I have to go green. Stay with even rice. I said I lie. I can still eat white rice. I still eat white rice now. What are you talking
Uche
about?
is
But in
okay.
it, yeah, but Uche is okay. That's the most important thing.
Thank you so much, God first, and then thank you so much, Uche,
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
to share this with us, because you don't know how much this is going to inspire somebody. This
Amen.
is going to give somebody the will to fight, the strength to fight.
I hope
and
so.
if you're listening, Uche is okay. Uche did beat cancer. You can ask for help. Visualize, see yourself beyond where you are right
Yeah.
now, and keep fighting. And I always tell you before I leave, that is never too late to live happily ever